Bruce and Terry arrives to a quiet festivity. Everything is calm and collected, with none the wiser of what's about to happen. They're met by a representative of the board who informs them everyone except Mr. Price has arrived, before Bruce is called up on stage to speak about the future of the company. All is well, all is peaceful, and then... a sound the Gotham streets have not heard for nearly 40 years. Everyone goes quiet at the sound of this maniacal laughter, before a rabid hyena boy charges through the bushes towards the crowd, towards Bruce Wayne. It seems strangely uninterested in harming Bruce though, waiting for several seconds before lunging, and Bruce swaps him away like he's a fly. Terry leaves to change into the Batsuit, only for Bruce to be manhandled by two deceptively strong DD twins. Humiliated and hurt, they throw him back on the stage, as a pink cloud of smoke erupts from the center, and from it emerges...
Hello, Gotham! Joker's back in town!
A lot of how convincing the Joker is lies in his fantastic showmanship. Every crime, every encounter is a performance to him, but at the same time it also serves a purpose. In this one moment he reveals his return to Gotham, draws attention away from the theft, gleefully confronts Bruce Wayne, who he knows is Batman, and brings his trademark brand of senseless chaos with him, all within a few seconds. Terry interrupts him and the Joker expresses his ambivalence towards this replacement of what he considers to be the only Batman. Terry is so unimportant, the Joker just watches as his minions distract him while his plan unfolds, and when the time comes to leave, he detonates several bombs on the rooftop to distract Terry further as he and the crew escapes. The Joker's overall attitude is tying into what this movie is trying to achieve, to have Terry earn being the heir of the cowl by taking on who is largely considered to be Batman's most important foe. In the Joker's mind, he has already won, because the Batman he fought is aged and decrepit, and Terry is just a kid in a suit no better than Robin. All that's left for him is to have fun as he directs this show towards the end. After the fact, Terry is driving Bruce home. Bruce is quiet and Terry is trying to fill the silence by apologizing for letting the Joker go, and asking how it could be possible for the Joker to still be around. He suggests some of the most common ways to resurrect comic book characters, before Bruce tells him to be quiet. Terry lets it be and drives Bruce home. In comics, resurrections are a dime a dozen, and really not that shocking, and the Joker has certainly come back from the dead once or thrice in the animated series. But because Batman Beyond started relatively isolated from the animated series, for the Joker to suddenly appear here really is unexpected. As for how it happened, because resurrections are so abundant in comics, all of us can pretty much guess at least one way it could have happened. But when Terry guesses, Bruce shuts him down. Apparently it's a sensitive subject, but why, when it should be their highest priority? What could rattle the great Batman so much he'd be unwilling to even discuss it? Meanwhile, an old man watches the news broadcast about the events that took place on the rooftop, clearly bothered by what he sees. We don't know who he is, but he must be important somehow, or why would we be looking at him? The following day, Terry visits Barbara Gordon, the former Batgirl and present police commissioner of Gotham City, hoping she could tell him what Bruce won't. However, if anything, Barbara is even colder than Bruce on the matter, all but physically throwing him out of her office for even asking about it. Terry doesn't understand what has them all so freaked out by the man and makes light of it.
What? A garden variety wacko who threatened people with whoopee cushions and squirting flowers? Big deal. I'm shaken. McGinnis!
Barbara tells him the Joker was worse than any criminal he's faced and berates him for snooping.
If Bruce wants you to drop it, then drop it.
Before leaving her office, we get a glimpse of the same man we saw earlier entering Barbara's office. This scene is a bit of a slap in the face for people like me who grew up watching the animated series without reading the comics, because I've grown up with more or less the same attitude as Terry. When I was a kid, I was always more freaked out by Clayface or the Scarecrow than I was the Joker, because the whole idea of a clown-themed criminal seemed really silly to me. But anyone who read the comics, yeah, you know the Joker was horrifying. Also, while the Joker's legacy did inspire a new street gang, the Jokers, with a Z, these clowns are a far cry from the original Mr. J, but they're the ones Terry has come to know and uses them as a measuring stick. And while the Beyond Rogues gallery is nothing to sneeze at, he doesn't have any silly villains as such. They're all relatively grounded and sensible, and so the idea of a clown being that bad completely flies over his head. More than sitting my ass down, this scene establishes 3 things. 1. The Joker really is a horrible thing to have back. 2. Neither Barbara nor Bruce are willing to admit the possibility he really is back, but it seems to be more than just sheer denial. 3. Whatever happened to make Barbara and Bruce so convinced it's not the real Joker was bad enough to scar them both in a way thus far unseen. Back in the Batcave, Bruce is comparing voice samples from the animated series with the Joker's appearance from the previous night, and confirms that yes indeed it is Mark Hamill returning from a galaxy far far away to reprise his role as the Joker. Woohoo! Back to what we're doing. The voice matches perfectly.
I know about all your other major enemies, but you never mention him. He was the biggest, wasn't he?
More open to conversation now, Bruce admits the Joker was a monster, but adamantly refuses the possibility he's still alive. Because he watched him die. Terry assumes that means Bruce killed him, which was probably justified, but still Bruce refuses to talk about it. Instead, he turns around and asks Terry to give back the Batman suit, because there is no reason for him to wear it, and Bruce won't force the responsibility on him the way he did the others.
You've made your father's killers pay for his murder, then put your own needs aside to help the city when it most needed a hero. You've honored the reputation of Batman many times over, and for that I thank you.
However, unwilling to give up being Batman, Terry tells Bruce about the person he used to be before all this, and how being Batman isn't a debt or a curse, but his choice to be better than he was. Bruce ignores everything Terry just said and tells Terry he doesn't know what he wants, and Terry throws the suit on the floor before running away from the cave. What just happened was Bruce Wayne, the Bruce Wayne, written by Paul Dini and Bruce Timm, and voiced by the Kevin Conroy, told the snotty little urchin that none of the times he's protected the innocents and stopped evildoers actually meant anything, and that whatever motivates him to keep putting on the suit despite the inconvenience, the hurt, the dangers to his family, the lack of sleep, and toll on every aspect of his life, that's just teenage confusion and nonsense. In essence, that he's not actually a real Batman. Or at least I think that's what they were going for. It doesn't really come across that way. If I'm honest, it comes across like Terry just had a teen fit. So it could have been done a lot better, but the intention was good. As I said earlier, Batman Beyond has no base in comics, and for a long time considered nothing but a meaningless cash grab. Therefore, Terry McGinnis was never considered a real Batman by the larger DC fanbase, despite the show getting a full 3 seasons before it was cancelled in 2001.
You're pretty strong for some clown who thinks he's Batman. I am Batman.
Today, the Beyond universe has become a recognized franchise within DC, with several comics in addition to inspiring the Justice League Unlimited TV series. What this movie is attempting to do is justify Terry McGinnis as a valid Batman, and the way it goes about it is really clever. The Joker's enmity with Batman is essential to the real canon, and Mark Hamill voicing the Joker and Kevin Conroy voicing Bruce Wayne is as real as it gets. And introducing the most relevant piece to Batman's existence in this non-universe makes it accountable to the real universe. Because now is the time for McGinnis to deliver, for Tim and Dini to prove Beyond was more than an obligation to the studio. This scene embodies the sentiment they were attempting to address. Terry has been sufficient for a Batman, but when it comes to scratch, he depends on the validity of the real Batman. By having the real Batman dismiss him because what's largely seen as the most iconic villain Bruce has faced has entered their world, the writers symbolically state, "You are not at his level." A very simple statement to make, but there is so much weight behind it, and what makes it even more complex is how well integrated into the story it is. You see, the symbolism of what they say and the motivation for why they say it are 2 completely different things. And what makes this especially impressive is how perfectly it fits into the story, because as this is happening on a meta level, the reason for it happening is completely different. When Terry accuses Bruce of killing the Joker, his exact words are,
You killed him, didn't you? He was gonna do something so terrible you had no other choice.
At this point, we don't know the full story, but watching this movie again, I realize this bit of dialogue is what made Bruce decide to take the suit back from Terry. It's almost like a thought bubble appearing in the middle of the film, because I can clearly see where it leads Bruce's thoughts. Further on, when Terry asks why Bruce is sending him away, Bruce looks towards the cabinet of suits and he says,
I had no right to force this life on you or anyone else.
The image isn't focused on any particular suit, but with the Batman suit taking up most of the frame and the Batgirl suit obscured to the side, the Robin suit is what takes up the most interest. Keep these two details in mind, because I will address them as they become relevant in the story.